Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Matthew and today we're doing another Godzilla Kong the New Empire video from Playmates. But today we're doing something a bit different. We have another ranking video, but I thought it would be fun to rank all of Wave 1 of the basic 6-inch Godzilla Kong figures that we've gotten thus far. So this means that we are not including any of the previous MonsterVerse releases. We're not featuring any of the minifigures, Battle War figures, the Titan Evolution, the Giants, and the Megas, simply because I don't plan on picking those up. Maybe the Giants, just a little bit. And we're also not counting the 2-packs in the special box sets with Godzilla and Shimu versus, and then Scar King and Kong. We're not including those. We're including the standard releases of all 6 packages. So, with that being said, need to also stress that this is my opinion. If you have a different opinion, that's your opinion, and let's agree to disagree. And also, I don't think any of these figures are bad. I think that they're actually pretty good for $10 each. That being said, there's definitely some winners and definitely some losers when you all happen together. So, let's go on with number 6. So for number 6, I'm going to have to go with Zuko and Titanus Doug. Now, I know, it seems like kind of a no-brainer, but at the same time, why is this one in last? Well, again, it's not bad. It's not a bad package at all. I think this is probably the most unique package because we have the first ever figure of Doug sold on toy shelves, and we have a newcomer, Zuko, with a little bit of a rock. However, in comparison to all the other figures, which are like giant-sized, these are pretty small. Now, I know, they're size accurate. Maybe not Doug, because Doug was a bit larger in the film. But that being said, I definitely feel like if you want a figure for like $10, this is a bit on the lower end for what you can get. Because yeah, you got 2 minifigures plus a rock. So really, I feel like this set was like almost a novelty, and honestly, I feel like Zuko could have came with Kong, and Doug could have came with maybe a standard release of Kong, because that would make sense. And before he got the Beast Glove, he got his food sniped by obviously by Doug. So maybe they could have done it like that, but hey, this is what we got. Again, 2 good figures. They're not bad in the slightest. I just think that this is definitely the weakest offering of the bunch. Next up is number 5 with the original Godzilla with HeatRay. And I gotta say, honestly, he's not bad in the slightest. I'm gonna keep saying that because I know someone is gonna wanna dislike my opinion because, let's be honest, we live in such a world where even no matter how many times you say that, someone's always gonna hate your opinion. That being said, why do I have this figure so low if I praised this figure so much in my review? Well, it's because of one good reason. I already own this figure. In fact, I believe that of all the GXK figures, if you own the original GVK figures, you don't need this. You don't need this if you already own the original HeatRay Godzilla. Because all there is really different is that he has a new leg sculpt, new tail sculpt, and a new beam. That's it. The head's the same, arms the same, the body's the same, and the dorsal plates are the same. Minus the translucency, it's basically the same figure. It's made of the same plastic. It gets rid of some dry brushing, but although it does feature some new sculpted areas, which I do appreciate, it's just because I already own this, and it's my opinion, it's just not doing the most it should be, in my opinion. I think that they should have went with a completely jet black or gray Godzilla without the atomic look. Maybe give it the breath, yes, but you don't need it being blue. To make it more unique, of course. In 4th place, we have the Scar King with Whip Slash. And I gotta say, in all honesty, this is probably my favorite figure to articulate and mess around with. Simply because it's the most articulated of the 6 inches figures, not Zuko and Doug, because Zuko's technically tied with Scar King. Maybe a bit more thanks to those feet swivels. But that being said, it's just Scar King just doesn't really have much to offer. I mean, you see what you get. You can argue the same thing for both figures, But the whip, like, especially after watching the movie, because it's now on digital and stuff, it's available to stream. Get on that, guys, because I'm not adding any more spoiler warnings to my GXK videos. The whip slash is actually done incorrectly. I'm docking off points for that because it took even me a while to notice, but he actually holds it by this end. And also, there's supposed to be a crystal there, and I personally feel like even now looking back at the film, they could have done this figure, I think, a little bit more well. Maybe this was based off some, like, early concepts or something, but in the movie, Scar King has, like, these sideburns. And again, I was even shocked to see that he had those sideburns in the film, and I really feel like that they could have, like, amped up the paint a bit more, especially, like, with the forearms. But again, the paint application for what is there is decent, and the articulation is excellent. Only gripes is the whip. I feel like the figure could be a tad bit more movie accurate, and those sloppily painted forearms. That's really it. Number 3 is Kong with the Beast Glove. Now, I gotta say, this is probably my favorite Playmates Kong figure that I currently own. It's got a nice weight to it. It's probably the heaviest of the bunch, which is weird to say, because you'd think Godzilla would be the heaviest, but no, Kong's a bit heavier. You know, it's got some nice weight, it's got some really good posability, and even though it's a bit stiffer this time around, I can pretty much forgive that. It's basically got almost everything I want, except for two little issues. One are the eyes. Apparently, most of the Kong prints have these cross eyes, at least from what I've heard. Because my Kong eyes are looking straight out to the side, and I really feel like that he should have came with an axe accessory, even if it was just reprinted for the new film, because towards the end of the movie, he has both the Beast Glove and the axe. So, giving it a heave accessory kind of makes it feel weird that he comes with a heave. I know, again, they follow him throughout the movie with a heave, but I really feel like that they should have came with the axe, especially when the back of the box outright mentions the axe, and he can definitely fit the axe within his hands. So, again, aside from that, he looks great. Posability, sculpt, articulation, really no complaints there. Number 2 is the coolest Titan, no pun intended, on the block, and that's Shimu with the Frostbite Blast. I honestly gotta say again, for the first GXK figure that I ever owned, it's probably I know this is gonna sound weird, but it has a really good grip. Like, I can really wrap my hands around the body in specific, and like, say a little kid wants to do the same, and like really go to town. Those spikes are not really sharp at all, by the way. But I like its posability. I like Shimu's posability. I like pretty much its accessory. That's really all I can really say, because I wish there was a bit more detail on the side of her body and maybe a bit more paint applications. I know the exclusive of this one from Walmart actually does improve on that, like giving it a bit more blues and a bit more like variance with the color, but it doesn't really do anything with the detail. It's literally just this figure remolded. And I feel like that this figure is a bit undersized, because in the film, Shima's supposed to be like up to here on Godzilla. Or at least like size head on head. And Godzilla's head's supposed to be tiny by mere comparison. So I personally feel as if they size Shima up a little bit bigger, I know there's the giant Shimu, but like that's a different figure entirely, and gave it a bit more detail towards the sides and a bit more like dry brushing, perfect. And I wish the accessory was a little longer, but aside from those, perfectly justifiable figure, in my opinion. And number 1, you probably saw this coming from a million miles away, Godzilla evolved with the HeatRay. Why is this number 1? Well, it's pretty much simple. This is probably one of my more favorite Godzilla designs, and I just love almost everything about this thing. The way it's posed, the accessory in specific, although I definitely think it's a bit on the more plain side, the translucent spikes, the red Thagomizer knocking down the original Godzilla's beam. It's pretty much got almost everything I want. It suffers a bit from the same problems Shimu has, not as far as size, but definitely like lacking in the paint and sculpt department, where it doesn't have any painted like elbow spikes, and it doesn't have much detail on the sides. Although I do think the Titan Evolution does have a bit more detail on the sides. And I've heard a lot of people, well, say that this thing is horrible. It's not, in my opinion. Also, the red is not, at least to me in person, it's not bad as say one would say it is. But again, it's fine on its own. If you don't let it get to you, like I didn't really let it get to me, then I think you're gonna have a fun time with this thing. And so that's pretty much my ranking for Wave 1 of the GXK figures from Playmates. Again, this is of May 2024. So whether Playmates goes back and does more like Tiamat, a Warbat, maybe that giant skeleton for whatever reason, and Mothra, maybe we'll do another one, but right as of now, that's my current ranking. But thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys liked it, definitely subscribe to the channel. If you want more in-depth videos, go to my Playmates playlist and look up the Godzilla Kong figures. And peace, believe in God, accept him as Lord and Savior today, spread the gospel. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace, everyone. God bless.